So the first topic is the best current operational practices. Let me see if this works. There we go. About me, a quick history. You probably saw this already today. I work for Internet Society. I'm a long-time operator. I'm in internet operations for 20 plus years. I've been working on IPv6 for more than 13 years and active and contributing member of RIPE and IETF communities. So let's move forward. The shameless plug, Deploy 360. Dan today explained about what we do. Actually, we try to put the operational content on the internet, on our sites, for the operators to use it to deploy new technologies as IPv6, DNSSEC, and routing. And what I'm going to do today is to give you an update on BCOP. So at last PLNOC, I had the presentation about best current operational practices and what it should be and what it should not be, and so on and forth. So just a quick overview on what the BCOP is. It's the best current operational practices are today shared between the operators in many ways. So we have hallway conversations, we have, operator group presentations, we have email lists, we have web forums, we have many ways how to share this best current operational practice. But there is no quick and easy way to find relevant documentation on how to actually deploy these new things, because there's too much clutter in IT space. So if you type in implement IPv6 ISP in Google, you get gazillion of hits. And how do you know which ones are relevant and which ones are not? So internet is too often wrong, right, on this stuff. So what we're trying to do here is to bring together the repository with relevant and trusted material that was written by the operators and experienced people in the community. So the solution idea is that we believe that neutral and regionally organized repositories of documents could help. And the first idea was to create a global BCOP repository, but then we received lots of feedback from the community that said, okay, this is too top-heavy, this is not going to work, so we redirected our resources into helping the regional repositories to start and actually get the work done. And these documents, of course, should be written by experienced operators. I get this question many times: what's the difference between BCOP and BCP from the IETF? It's a big difference. Best current operational practice documents can be written by operators. BCP can be written by anyone, right? That knows how to do things. It's about operational practice. So, as this is an update, I would just like to talk what we have done so far. We started in Orlando at NANOC. I talked here in PLNOC 10, then we went to Paris, Denver, we went to Lucknow in Medellin, we went to Skopje, Barbados, Dublin, St. Petersburg, we went to Africa, to Lusaka, London, Kuwait. Last week I was in Kuwait. Here I am now in Krakow. We go to Athens, still to go. We go to Curacao, to Lucknow. Then I go to Ivory Coast for Afrinic meeting, and so on and so forth. So we spend a lot of time, resources, and effort going around the world, going around the regions, and talk to operators that they need to start thinking about this. So many things already started. Actually, some years ago at NANOC, it started the IP BCOP effort. It was Aaron Hughes and Chris, he's there. It was these two guys were one of the engines of this IP BCOP effort. And then actually that effort now became a regional BCOP track or working group at NANOC. I don't know how they're gonna decide. And actually Chris and Aaron asked ISOC to help reaching out to the rest of the world and replicate this idea. And we're doing that. So we've got enormous feedback, especially from the RIPE community. This is really a huge technical community, and they are really outspoken and frank and really direct. So we changed our mind dramatically. We received the feedback that the previous one was top-down rigid structure, that was top-heavy. So we said, okay, we are not doing directorate overlooking structure like we used to think it was a good idea. So we changed it upside down. So we are directing our efforts in helping the operators communities around the world in regions to start the work, and then probably if the regional communities starts the work and start producing documents, the cooperation and communication need may emerge naturally. So the idea is that let's start the work regionally, produce something useful and publish it. And then maybe regions might start talking to each other and saying, oh, so yeah, you're working on that stuff. Let's some of our people go into that and comment there. So we are actually trying to create a global thing that gets done regionally. So this was the first idea of the proposal. So where is my sword so I can point? I have no sword, okay. So this was the first idea, the global BCOP repository with some committee appointed members from regional BCOPs like a secretariat and all that stuff, but we decided not to do it. Yes, or something else. So our idea is now we cut the head off, and now we are actually focusing on regional BCOPs that needs to start the work, and the operators and members and of non-communities around the world participate in these efforts, and other interested parties like vendors, IETF people, and everyone else. What we are currently doing is we created a web page just with URL pointers, what every community around the world is doing in this space, and nothing else. Just pointing to the work being done. No top-down structures. So website is at this address. You can go to Deploy 360 website, go under About, and then you would see the BCOP, the best current operational practices, what's going on. We also identified some topics, mainly from North America and RIPE region, and also other people is active. And I think that we got some good proposals from around the world. So these are the topics that has been identified. And now when we define the topics, we need to find people that would work on these topics and start the documents. We have more, so there's lots of operational things that actually needs to be documented sooner or later. And we need more suggestions, and we need more volunteers that would start the work and bring people together and start documenting these things. So as one of the like examples on how it should look like, actually I started one, and it's called Generic IPv6 Troubleshooting Procedures for Help Desks Around the World. So when I went around the world talking about BCOP and even before, lots of operators told me, yeah, we deployed V6, it's working, we tested many things, everything is fine, everything is up and running, but we are not rolling it out to our end users. I said, why? Because they said, oh no, because we fear that our help desk is not prepared, they know nothing about V6, so the help desk will just burn down if you enable IPv6 to the end customers. That's actually a very rubbish excuse. But this is a state of mind currently with the operators. So one of the first speed bumps was addressed by RIPE 554. So people now is able to buy the equipment. And the next speed bump is this mental state of the operators that they think that they could not handle the calls related to IPv6 issues. And we've got some really nice people working on the document. It's Lee Howard from TWC, John Jason Brozowski from Comcast. These are two big, huge American cable networks that deployed V6 and have experience. And it's Dave Friedman. He's sitting here. Jason Fessler from Yahoo. This is actually the guy that is running and created test-ipv6.com. And what we're working on now is we thought of having the special version of testvsix.com that is for the ISP help desks. So they can direct their users that have no clue what's going on to that site and just have very, very small amount of information that people can read over the phone back to the help desk. We were even thinking about some common scenarios or some common errors that you just give the number in the corner of the page and the person just says, oh, this is error number 6, and on the other side, the operator at the help desk knows, well, okay, so you are hitting this problem. So actually, this document is a work in progress. We need more operators. Yeah, well, then Tim Chown, Sandra Stefan is working on it. Then it's me. Chris is also added to the document, but did not contribute. But I'm hoping. Yeah. Well, today Chris started his new job. He's the manager of the Deploy 360. So it's his first day at the Internet Society. Welcome to the team. Okay, so with this work, we need more experienced folk to add to the document. Yesterday, I had a long discussion with Dave, and he said we need to remove majority of the document because it's becoming too long and too complex. So it's your job now. And okay, back to the BCOP. What's going on around the world? In Africa region, we identified the engine of the effort. That's why I'm going to the Ivory Coast. We have a volunteer that will run the initiative there. In Latin America, we are starting a BCOP effort at the Curacao meeting with 2 volunteers from the LACNIC. North America, we have NANOC BCOP. In Europe, we have RIPE BCOP that was actually a BOF at the RIPE meeting in Dublin. Now we have another BOF in Athens. So if it happens that you come to Athens, join us. I will do this update and also talk to people. And of course, we have a volunteer in our region. It's Benno from LNet Labs that will write and drive the BCOP effort. In Middle East, I presented at MENOC in Kuwait. We're still waiting for some results from that region. And in Asia, we need to hit Asia next year. I hope that we will do the trip to Japan and New Zealand at the end of January. The seed was planted, but we need to touch the base in Asia region and talk to the operators in that region to start the work. and then encourage everyone to start producing content and start talking to each other, so they could sync and not duplicate the work that is being done around the world. And with this, I came to an end of my update, and I think I'm 15 minutes early, right? Okay, yeah, well, sure, questions. Are there any questions, any volunteers, any suggestions on the work that we need to do? Okay, Chris.
What's next?
IPv6 panel.
For BCOP.
For BCOP, well, we need to touch base in Asia. We need to start talking to people and operators in Asia. As I said, I started this document that would be like an example. For example, I don't know, RIPE 554 could be a nice example of the BCOP document that was done by community. Next is to actually create these efforts. But we need to point out that we as Internet Society are committed to facilitate and help and encourage people to start doing this stuff. We don't want to own this process. This process should be owned by the operators and be done for the operators, not by us. We are just trying to move the thing forward. Okay?
Okay, so the next step is to stand up more regional BCOPs. Do you have a vision or an idea of, maybe based on interest or your own personal thoughts on what the regions look like, right? So there's network operator groups by regional level and by country level, and they kind of overlap. And so, you know, so far the home of these has been in network operator group areas. So do you see every NOG and NOF out there doing something like this, or do you see just certain ones, or how do you see it playing out so far?
Well, what I saw during my world tour, if you want to call it like this, is that actually the big NOGs, or mostly RIRs, are the place to start this effort. And it's good that we are visiting a smaller NOGs. Actually, yeah, by the way, PL NOG is, I think it's the biggest NOG in the world that I have been to. 700 people, you don't see that. Good job. And, but the NOGs in the region, usually it's a good thing that we go there, talk to the NOG, and maybe invite people to participate in a BCOP initiative that is usually, now it starts to, the picture starts to clear up a bit. Usually it tends to go under RIRs, because this is the place where lots of technical and operational people go and meet and participate in the mailing list and participate in the work and so on and so forth. So I see that it's trending towards RIRs, but we need to be active also in other smaller NOGs to drag people together and make them talk to each other. If there is no more questions, then that means we have much more time for IPv6 panel. Okay? Thank you.